I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. In CG, we think it is true that feminists should be aiming for protecting women from beauty standard and discrimination. But we think the exclusive contribution from CG is that we will give you analysis from a different angle, because we will analyze and aim to also protect the talent, which is the vulnerable actor that that the opening half completely missed, and from K-pop interference like freedom restriction, objectification, and sexualization, right? Because we think no woman on this earth and any human being should be restricted of her choice and moreover being objectified and to be sexualized. Before all of my substances, uh, oh, uh, responses for the opposition. Firstly, on the point on variety, we think that their point on K-pop is just another form of variety is not that valid, because basically this just add a new form of beauty standard, like you have to have super thin body, clear and white skin, for example, pretty eye and stuff and so on. We think this just add a monocolored beauty standard, right? But even at the more toxic level, because of K-pop popularity around the world is significantly high, making the variation that OO depicts is invalid, right? Because even more K-pop is much popular in Asian, for example. Meanwhile, Asian is very diverse, for example, that you have a lot of color, for example, white, creamy, and brown, for example. You have large eye and small eye, even making this variation of Asia even harder to cater and to follow the beauty that K-pop offer, resulting in more discrimination, right? We think K-pop is giving harm. We think that K-pop is giving harm is invalid because the standard they give is more and even more inaccessible for Asian, right? Even on how this amplifies racism in Korea, because for example, even if we normal Asian come there, if we are not beautiful or smart, they will not see us as human being. For example, they just will discriminate us and see us as a weird person, for example, right? This even racism exists on their side on Korea. But secondly, on the point of supply on demand, we don't think that capitalism should be in this debate. Moreover, it should not be the goal of the feminists to pay attention to company or to capitalism, right? Because we think they are just exploiting momentum and this girl talent, for example, for the sake of money, for example, for selling of makeup, for selling of any other skincare product, just by exploiting these women, for example. We think giving any care and giving any care, because they are doing this without giving any care on how hard the talent life is just. Instead, they use this woman for commodity. We don't think that is the goal of feminism, and we don't care at all about this capitalism and supply and demand from the first place, right? But into my argument, firstly, I'm going to talk about the abuse and the objectification of talent as the vulnerable actor that CG choose to protect. A missing big part of the entire opening half is that they are only talking about the consumer and society standard. They are talking about how discrimination happens in society, but they completely neglect that they are also another actor in the K-pop industry, right? It is not only the company, not only the consumer, but also the talent, for example, right? But the exploitation of the talent of the girl band will be exclusive under CG, because we think you need to understand that feminist aims more about woman freedom than about woman beauty, right? Because freedom is been the primary goal of feminists from the start. For example, to be free to have jobs, to be free for education, to be free to think, to be free to act, for example, and to express yourself. We think this is a very missing characterization from the opening half. You need to understand that from the moment talent go for training, for example, into their graduation, they are having a hard time. But firstly, they are selected because of their voice, which is normal. Secondly, their face, and thirdly, their body. Right? Under this process, it is very hard because you have to maintain this. Right? You are going to have intense training and to be restricted, because we don't want you to become fat, for example, right? Because, for example, you are going to be restricted, for example, from access of public appearance, restricted in terms of food diet, for example, and restricted in social interaction. We think this is very stressful environment for the talent, because ideally in the entertainment, not only the consumer should be entertained, but also the singer have the right to enjoy the performance and have the right to enjoy their life. We think a talent is heavily suppressed even under preparation. Not to mention, for example, after the talents join girl band, also even the K-pop company is still full under controlling that life, right? Yes, we agree this happened to also the male and female, but we think that we are talking represent the both of them. But even after the talent become graduate, for example, they're going to be still suppressed, right? They cannot freely go everywhere. They cannot randomly post in social media. They are forbid to be in a relationship with someone, or even in the worst case, they are forced to be in a relationship with someone just for the sake of rating and popularity with someone, right? We think K-pop industry under this suppression, we think their action directly clash with the feminism value, like what we have talked to you before, because they completely undermine the authority of women. We think this is worth to fight for because one, we don't want any kind of suppression of choice to any human being, especially women. And secondly, we want people to understand that K-pop industry is not all about consumer, but also the talent exists and live, and they are also human that we want to protect, right? We think we want our protest and complaint to spread awareness to the society because we're going to fight for these talents. We think this directly clashes with our concern about the society hating feminists, because we think if the society knows about this abusement of talent, for example, we think the society will be supporting us because their idol is being suppressed at the end of the day, from the beginning, right? Even the suicide number is very high. For example, like Gohara, suicide because of the fans hate and stress because of war. Even the fans hate prove to us that the society is that patriarchal, even in Korea, and we don't want people. We think we don't see why people will oppose us, right? But even if they will be against us, we think it doesn't matter, because as long as we are feminists are fighting for the freedom of women, we don't think we think our movement is justified. Secondly, about the sexism in creativity, we think entertainment you have the right of entertainment to be creative and to write your own song, right? But what you need to understand that the company is very sexist, because, for example, the boy band can have their own album, for example, but they are restricting women to write their own album, right? We think, lastly, for example, if for example the girl band are singing songs that are imposed for them to sing and limited their creativity, we think that is the moment that we don't know whether or not they are expressing themselves. We don't know that are they just being a commodity for the company, right? We don't think that is. We don't think this is the kind of product that the feminists want. Moreover, this completely hinders the creativity of women itself. By these reasons, we propose.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Honorable judges, I will give some rebuttal to the opposition side of the house. Yes, the glorification from K-pop industry can promote and adding new beauty standard that Asian is also beauty, not only Western, ladies and gentlemen. We are not denying that. The beauty standards should be diverse, and women in every single place of the country can show their uniqueness, like Kardashian style, K-pop style, Bollywood style, and etc. But the main problem that happened in the glorification in this K-pop industry is over glorification, ladies and gentlemen. That thing is overly imposed frequently, ladies and gentlemen. Like the talent's face is all over the makeup, the beauty standard, ladies and gentlemen, in food product, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go. Like we see nowadays is very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, because it is make people will think that the beauty standard from the K-pop is from the K-pop only, ladies and gentlemen. The only beauty standard is K-pop, ladies and gentlemen. And even if we are trying to making these people realize that it is not the only beauty standard, and people should realize that many kind of beauty standard, this is already over glorification, ladies and gentlemen. It will be more superior because people only seeing K-pop, hearing K-pop frequently until they think the only style is K-pop, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and people make media as the newest style, ladies and gentlemen, newest style, and also people should join it too. All right, then the feminist movement say, all right, the feminist movement that said by DLO should be diverse, cannot be achieved in their status quo. And we can achieve that aggressively by opposing the K-pop industry, ladies and gentlemen. So K-pop will not glorify in our situation, and the other beauty standard can also stand, ladies and gentlemen. So feminist movement can achieve this beauty standard diverse in our situation, ladies and gentlemen. And also, the LO said that they also fighting, but that by not blaming this K-pop production is also we fight for the creativity, ladies and gentlemen. This is not going to be happen, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you why. This is what happened if the POV is only from consumer, ladies and gentlemen. let us make you see from the talent POV, ladies and gentlemen. As the member of the government said, the creativity in this K-pop industry is sexualized, ladies and gentlemen, where the boy band can make their own album. Meanwhile, the girl bands cannot be trusted by the management to build an album because biased by sexualized, ladies and gentlemen. Because in all layer have the patriarchal issue, not only from the consumer, it's also from the producer and also the production, ladies and gentlemen. So what happened to the creativity in our status quo, ladies and gentlemen? The creativity is pressed, ladies and gentlemen, for the woman talent in K-pop industry. And it contradicts with DLO that say they fight for the creativity, ladies and gentlemen, so it can bring the new innovative. No, it is contradict what happened in our status quo, ladies and gentlemen. By creativity being pressed, all right, it means the freedom of woman is also being pressed, all right, ladies and gentlemen. For the example, the Big Bang and BTS given chance to make their own lyric. Meanwhile, like Red Velvet and also the Blackpink, all right, they cannot make an album, ladies and gentlemen. What is that meaning when you are singing a song? All right, that's not what you feel, that's not what you experience. You only sing only for production, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing at all, ladies and gentlemen. Because creativity in production is where the talent act what they feel and what they experience, ladies and gentlemen, to show their freedom, ladies and gentlemen. That's the meaning, ladies and gentlemen. Conducting to be a creativity and also freedom. This has the same agenda as the feminist movement from the first time, the first wave and the second wave, ladies and gentlemen, for freedom, ladies and gentlemen, for freedom, ladies and gentlemen. So we achieve the feminist agenda in our status quo, ladies and gentlemen, by aggressively opposing the K-pop industry. And also from DLO said, the K-pop production should be no blame, because they're only trying to fulfill supply and demand. And this is where the wrong comes, ladies and gentlemen. The demand of the K-pop itself is already be wrong, because many kind of demand has the patriarchal issues, ladies and gentlemen, has the patriarchal value, ladies and gentlemen. What it can be, ladies and gentlemen. So the production want to fulfill this demand, all right? So they're supplying this demand, the patriarchal value, ladies and gentlemen. And then the talent must do it because they're in it, especially the woman talent, ladies and gentlemen. So they are making something that also kind supporting patriarchal value like objectification of women, etc., and influence people, because I already stated it is over glorified, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And this is against the feminist movement from the first time. That's why we need this to do it aggressively. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So the class happened in our debate is whether we are fighting for the consumer or talent, ladies and gentlemen. From all the debate that already happened, OG and OO talking about the behavior of consumer. Meanwhile, in our closing government, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the talent that suffer, especially for women, discriminate most and must obey the production about the demand from the consumer, most likely to sexualize to fulfill the desire of consumer as the demand has the patriarchal value, ladies and gentlemen. And the second thing about the class that happened, whether our feminist movement should fight for K-pop, why it is important to against this in particular, because the culture and company is on already sexist and patriarchal, because they treat men and women differently. Because they think the man is better and superior, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a kind industry we should support from the first time. Because a feminist goal is every single woman has a freedom of choice, equally with men, and also have freedom to express their self, ladies and gentlemen, and creativity if they are as an artist, ladies and gentlemen. And third, ladies and gentlemen, why supporting this industry is good to improve feminist agenda. All right. For the opening government side of the house, they're only talking about unification of beauty. This is less better than CG that I will tell you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And OO telling about the beauty standard is diverse. It cannot be achieved, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, because it is over glorified. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we stated in our rebuttal, by aggressively opposing K-pop, we are trying to neutralize and make beauty standard is more diverse, ladies and gentlemen. And also in CG, ladies and gentlemen, why we should win this debate. We fight for freedom. We fight for equal treatment. We fight for structural change in the society. In our side, it's more relevant because the CG, we are more aligned with the feminist agenda all about, because feminist agenda from the first time is not the beauty standard. Beauty standard is only the third wave, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm happy to propose. Thank you.